What's in the box? What's in the box? Okay, so maybe I can't act as bad as Brad Pitt in Seven. Or maybe I can. But by now you're probably wondering what I've got stuffed in this here toolbox. Stick around, I'm going to show you. I was actually intending to shoot this video before my mud romp a couple weeks ago. But the day that I went to shoot it was all windy, the footage was garbage, you couldn't hear a damn thing, it was bad. So it got put off. And interestingly enough, I haven't opened that box since the mud romp video, so I guess we're going to find out if it's waterproof at the same time. In case y'all are wondering, and I know you are, this here's a hot pot, and basically it's a little food heating device designed to strap to the expansion chamber of a snowmobile, and I thought, yeah, that'll fit on the resonator. Let's throw a couple of burritos on, go for a trail ride, and see how she goes. That's what that is. Anyways, let's crack into this thing. Okay, it looks pretty promising so far. Don't see any sign of mud or crap in there. Alright, so I'm just going to dump this all out on the table and show you what I got. Okay, so I just emptied the tools out, put them on the table. Box is clean and dry. Nice. Gasket's still good. Love it. Alright, so here's the kit laid out on the table in no particular order whatsoever. And every time I look at it or think about it, I end up adding something else. Needless to say, the box is pretty damn full. And if I decide to add further things, I'm going to have to come up with another storage solution. So here we have the caps for my exhaust resonator to put this sucker into quiet mode. Naturally, I don't want to put those on unless I absolutely have to, so they sit in the box. And I've got a towing shackle here. The other one's hanging off the front bumper, so I do have two, one for the towing vehicle and one for the towed vehicle. In that very same vein, I've got about 12 feet of very strong rope here. This is that double braided stuff. It's very good rope. Here I've got an industrial garbage bag. It's one of those 55-gallon drum liners. It's 3mm poly. It's really heavy. I'll leave it rolled up for now so I don't have to re-roll it, but you get the basic idea. It's a really, really heavy plastic that's good for toting things around in. It's good for laying out on the ground if you have to lie under your machine to work on it. Picking up somebody else's crap on the trail or hauling out your own garbage. Picking up water if you need to. Whatever the case may be, one of these bags can do it all. Here, I've got a nifty little tire kit. It's a little overstuffed, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But basically, this is what it looks like as I purchased it. No, I don't have an endorsement on this product, so I'm not getting paid or sponsored in any way, shape, or form to say if it's any good. But this is a ATV tire repair kit that has your insertion needle and your reamer, and it's got the plugs in there. I'll show you in detail in a second. And it's got some CO2 cartridges and the nozzle adapter. The idea being, if you get a puncture in a tubeless tire, you can plug it on the trail, air it up on the trail, and it's all very compact. I picked up a few of these on sale and it seemed like a hell of a good thing to have. Now the kit I've got here is a little stuffed, overstuffed in fact, because I overstocked it. But I'll show you the kit as it kind of comes from the factory. There's a little adapter that screws onto the CO2 cartridge. I'm not going to screw it all the way on because I don't want to puncture it and waste a cartridge. But one of these is said to fill an ATV tire to 3 psi. The kit comes with 3 of them, and I've got 6 stuffed in my little pouch there. There's the plugs that come with it, and you've got the insertion needle and the reamer. That's all together in a funkadelic compact little kit with some instructions. So I bought a few of these kits at a reduced sale price, and I overstuffed the one that I'm carrying with me on the trail. Moving on a little further, I guess we'll get to the tools. First off, vice grips. Can't live without them. These things are a multi-purpose tool that's like God's greatest invention. I had a rod end go on mule one day while I was out in the boonies, and I managed to just clamp it with a pair of vice grips and drive home. Got an adjustable wrench here to serve as a backup when undoing and tightening fasteners. And this is a companion to these 4 little guys here. And these 4 wrenches here are my space-saving solution to needing a whole whack of different wrenches. I went through my pile of knockoff brand and Mastercraft and whatever stupid wrenches that I don't have in my toolbox, and I selected the size that I needed, all of them, and I came up with 8 sizes, and I cut the box ends off, all 8 sizes, and then I welded together the remaining 8 open end pieces. So I've got basically combination wrenches here. I've got 8mm and 1/4 inch here, and I've got 3/8 and 9/16 here, 10 and 12mm here, and 7/16 and 1/2 inch here. The reason for the metric stuff, of course, is the Vanguard engine. They have a lot of metric fasteners on them, so I've got everything I need here to work on both the engine and the tractor. And like I said, you know, I can work the fastener with one of these wrenches and then back it up with the adjustable or the vice grips if I have to. Since we're talking about trail fixes, I've also got a tube of this ultra black Permatex RTV silicone sealant here. This stuff resists Armageddon. I like this stuff. It's excellent sealant. It's good to have handy. You know, glue together everything from a carburetor to a rear end to a tire to you name it. Handy to have on hand. I'll get to that little kit in a minute. Lighter, pretty self-explanatory. You know, you got to make a fire while you're out on the trail, whatever the case may be. Got a lighter. This particular flathead screwdriver is selected because it's got a very narrow profile and it's perfect for getting into a carburetor jet. Nondescript little whatever folding utility knife. Can't get anywhere without a knife. This screwdriver here will sort out any other fasteners and heads I've got on the machine. I've got some Robertson heads. For you American folks, that's the little square one. I know you don't have those down in the States. They actually have a better grip and transfer torque better and tend to strip less than Phillips heads. But I've got your Robertson, I've got Phillips, a couple more flatheads on here. This is the rest of my screwdrivers. No kit is complete without some zip ties, so here's a bundle of zip ties. Continuing on, I've got my crash scissors. These things were invented for the medical industry and they'll cut everything including wire, and they're actually stronger than they look. These are just handy as hell to have on hand for field repairs. Okay, so here we have a little baggie, and I just want you to notice that I've got these things in baggies not to waterproof them because the box is waterproof, just to keep them organized and from spilling out all over the place. So in this little baggie I've got some field fix stuff that basically you can't live without. Okay, so I've got your ultra cheesy but effective spark plug wrench. These things are about as lightweight as they get, and you just jam a screwdriver through there for this, you know, to give a handle. And tucked up nice and tight inside that spark plug wrench, I've got 12 or 13 feet of, I believe this is 16 gauge electrical wire, in case I have to do a wiring repair. Electrical tape for patching all kinds of stuff, including wiring. Hose clamp, pretty self-explanatory. Some cotter pins, also self-explanatory. Nail file. These things are perfect for dressing spark plugs. And I've got some mechanics wire here, which is handy for holding stuff up out of the way or reaching in to grab something that you've dropped or whatever the case may be. Handy dandy little, I've got about 6 feet of mechanics wire here. And the obligatory carburetor jet cleaning set. This is actually a welder's torch tip cleaning set, but these tiny little round files are perfect for carburetor jets. I've got a bunch of these. Most of them live in my toolbox, one of them lives in my welding kit, and now one of them lives in Fugazi. And they've got some very, very fine wires that have ridges on them, and they're perfect for cleaning out jets on the fly. This tool is handy enough that sometimes you don't even have to remove the jet, but if you want to get at the emulsion tube, you do. In this kit here, I've got 2 brand new spark plugs for Fugazi, already gapped to 30 thou, and I'd actually like to take a moment to thank Fearless front actually for this tube idea. That was pretty cool. I was going through a bunch of videos one day and I saw how he had stored his spare spark plug, and I thought, damn, that's actually a hell of a good idea. So the plastic outer tube came from a, I don't even remember, it could have been glue, and inside I've got the plugs held together with a piece of clear vinyl tubing with the electrodes apart. They're not going to bang off each other. They are safe, fresh, ready to install. They're not going stale on that. Okay, so in this bag here, I've got a couple of clean rags and a pair of nitrile gloves. This is just kind of a general purpose cleaning your hands and, you know, working somewhat hands clean while you're working on your machine on the trail, so you don't get completely covered in grease, goo, gasoline, or whatever. And you've got the ability to protect your hands to a certain degree. Let me just get the air out of here with the gloves and clean up with the rags. This one here is the medical end. You'll see that I also have a couple of nitrile gloves in here. I've got a triangular bandage with a safety pin here in case you need to make a sling. I did fire a couple of extra safety pins in just in case. A couple of nitrile gloves, some various and assorted bandages, and some gauze pads. And I've got the separate gloves in here so that if one is working on one's machine in the trail and you need the gloves and your hands are already starting to get kind of gacky, you're not reaching into the medical bag to get them. You're reaching into this bag so you don't get crap all over your medical supplies. This is really hard to do with my left hand. And there it is. Filling out my toolbox was an interesting task. I sat down with a piece of paper and kind of scratched my brains and thought, okay, well, I'm definitely going to need this, I'm going to need this, I'm going to need this. Some of it was a no-brainer, you know, the spark plug socket and some wire and the carburetor cleaning crap and blah, 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 blah. But I really had to put some effort into trying to figure out how best to stuff that box and keep myself as well prepared as I can possibly manage for, you know, any kind of the usual eventualities on a trail. And I've got it pretty well covered. I don't think I'm quite done yet. I'm probably going to try like hell to stuff 2 or 3 feet of fuel line into the box too, because sometimes they split if they're not in great shape to begin with. That's probably more for helping somebody else out than myself, because, well, frankly, the machine's got all new fuel line. But, you know, I put down on paper as much as I could think of. And then I went over the machine and kind of reminded myself, okay, I've got this fastener and these cotter pins and blah. And then I climbed on the internet and I had a look around at some of the contents of some other people's toolboxes. And as I indicated earlier, I did borrow an idea or two from Fearless Front. Thanks, Todd. The spark plug tube thing was actually a really cool concept that I hadn't thought of. I was just going to, you know, wrap them up in a Ziploc baggie and hope for the best. Not that anything's going to rattle around in the box, because it can't. Everything's stuffed in there so tight. But the tube was a bloody brilliant idea. I loved it. Anyways, there you go. That is what's in the toolbox. And, you know, if you're going to prepare yourself for some trail rides or some mud runs or something like that, you know, you might want to consider stocking up with some of the same items. Might save you a bit of a headache. So, thanks for tuning in to Sprocket's Garage on YouTube. And until next time, take care of yourself. Okay, this is going to be dumb.